it would behoove you to be ready to rock and roll. I don't want to wait for our lives to get over. So I want to talk about something kind of morbid. Depends on who you ask. Not really morbid. It's just preparedness, right? And I mean like prepared for the worst. We always live by this mantra in our house: just prepare for the worst but hope for the best. And it could be like, for example, a month after I bought my house, I think I've told the story before, we had wildfires come through here, not through here, down in the gorge south of us, but the fires were really close to our house. And we're talking huge, man, or, you know, just giant fires. So shortly after that was September, ended in October. And then like when it was done, when the rain started to really come in. And then January of the following year, so 4 months later, not even, 5 months later, 3 months later, 3 months later, we had a massive ice storm come through where it was average of 23 degrees for about, I don't know, a week. And we were without power for 16 days. The county I live in had, I think they said, something like 800 and something miles worth of downed power lines. And so in that scenario, now luckily, we have some things at our disposal, some ways of keeping warm, a stockpile of food and water. So we were ready. Now, before you come at me with 23 degrees, it gets like that all the time over where I live. Yeah, well, it doesn't do that here, and we're, that's totally out of the normal. So let's say, God forbid any of this happens, but let's say we, eventually end up in a civil war with ourselves, a nuclear holocaust, another Katrina comes through, whatever it is. A solar flare comes through and knocks out all electricity. Whatever it is, it would behoove you to be ready to rock and roll. Have some emergency things at your disposal. Learn to use a bow, like a bow and arrow. If you don't have one, think about getting one, because I know some of my viewers are in countries where getting a firearm is ridiculously hard to do. If you can't get a firearm, get a bow and arrow, a good one. It could be a long bow, recurve, compound, whatever. So that way you have a means of obtaining meat. You can hunt. Also, in your local area, I'd say within a mile or two, you need a steady source of water. A stream, a creek, a river, a spring, whatever it is. You're gonna need water. Have a couple gallons on standby at least, because in a pinch, you don't realize how much water you actually need, because you might be eating dehydrated, long storage types of food if you have it, and they don't have a lot of water content. So like, let's say you're eating a bowl of soup, it's already in a can, you just heat it up. Well, that's got a couple cups of water in it already, but when you're eating MRE crackers, dude, you got no water. You need water. So have enough water to get you by, to last until the dust clears. Grab some water. Learn the local vegetation. So be able to identify certain herbs, roots, weeds, plants, what's beneficial, what's bad, what's poisonous, what might be medicinal. In my last video, I talked about how my wife basically allowed these two weeds to grow really, to grow really big. And we've harvested them, they're drying, and we're gonna keep them on standby. Consider getting a water reclamation tank. I put one, I need to get more, I have one. Water from my gutters drains down into a 55-gallon water tank. Not a lot, but 55 gallons should be fine for, that's about a week's worth of water for all the animals and myself. And during the rainy season, that fills up probably faster than I would drain it. Now, with water reclamation like that, you don't want to just drink it. You need either water filtration, and you need to boil it. Now, you don't need water filtration. You could run it through a fucking old t-shirt, a sock, whatever, to get the big, large chunks out of it. You can also rig up a system where it drains through a series of natural filters. So you've got rock, or not rock, but gravel, and then pea gravel, and then dirt, and then sand, and then charcoal. And you can make your own charcoal. It won't be, you know, like activated charcoal filter, but it's still charcoal. It's basically pure carbon. It's good to go. It should be fine. You should still boil it after. You need to be prepared to defend yourself as well. You need to get into a mindset where everybody is a threat. Because during humans become very, very unpredictable when desperate. So let's say, you know, God, like I said, God forbid, we get another Katrina comes through here. Looting will happen so fast. Because there's no law. The police are experiencing the same thing you are, and I sure as heck wouldn't go to work. I gotta look after my own. Besides, what are you gonna do? Drive through a lake? Or, you know, an EMP hit, or a solar flare hit, and you can't, there's no electronics anymore. They're all fried. So be prepared to, you know, to the normal civilian, that sounds scary, because a lot of people are really turned off by violence. But humans are a violent species, and we've just lived in comfort for so long that we've forgot a lot of it. You know, a lot of how to survive. A lot of it has always been the strong take over the weak. It's the way it is. It's the way of nature. It's unfortunate, but there's nothing you can do about it. Some people will say get a Faraday cage or a Faraday bag to keep your electronics safe from stuff like that, from like EMPs or solar flares. That's up to you, bud. You know, radios will work for, you know, but if there's no way to charge them, you know, you might need obviously solar panels, but you never know. So, oh wow, nice and fresh. So yeah, if you don't know how to already, I would learn to garden. Learn to cultivate your own crops. Tomatoes, potatoes. I would really go with more calorically dense things like potatoes, corn, so you can make it into cornmeal. I think eating corn in a situation like that is a waste, because if you've ever had corn on the cob and the next morning you take a dump and you look in the toilet, oh, there's corn in there. You know, yeah. So you can mash it up into cornmeal and you can make bread with it, tortillas, whatever. one that I learned, a cool thing, how to keep yourself warm, how to keep your home warm in the winter without natural gas or electric heating. We have probably at this point thousands of tea candles, because remember, this happened before to us in 2020. Grab some paving stones from your hardware store. The 12 by 12 should work. Grab like, I don't know, 10 of them, 12 of them. They're $1.99. So you're either spending between $12 and $24. Using your tea lights, your tea candles, you can light them. You can make a hearth out of those paving stones. You just make a little box, seal it on, close it on one side, so it's basically a little hearth, like a fireplace, just without a chimney. Place between 4 and 6 tea lights in there, lit, and the heat from the fire will warm up the surrounding brick, and that can keep you warm. When we did that, it was 20-30 degrees. It was during the 20s. My house was about 44 degrees or so. Now the sun was helping a lot. We had the windows open, or not open, but we had the drapes up so the sun could come in. But a lot of the days there was no sun, so I would say it was about an average 44 degrees. Well, Tango, how did you know what temperature it was in the house if you didn't have electricity? I have a Nest thermostat, and it's got batteries, and they lasted long enough to tell me the indoor temperature. Also, I was doing HVAC at the time, and so I had thermometers coming out of my pockets, you know what I mean? So, oh, nice blinker. Yep. Nice blinker, dude. Love that. So yeah, that's just a couple things that crossed my mind. Kind of during the last video. I was gonna do more like, what we've forgotten. Nah, I'd rather just talk about kind of prepping. So make sure to have a bunch of canned goods. Check the expiration date, rotate them out. When you're starting to get low, get more. I would get a couple of those food grade buckets with a sealing lid. Get a bunch of rice, get a bunch of salt. Get a bunch of salt. You need salt. We have about 10 gallons of salt at home. We have about 15 gallons of rice, maybe 20 gallons of rice. About 5 gallons of flour. We're ready to rock, dude. Now, you might be like, that's so dumb. Yeah, maybe. But if it happens, if something terrible happens, who's the dumb one now? So anyway, hopefully something like that never does happen. But we're pretty close to a nuclear war right now, it seems like. Hopefully not, but you never know. It's better to be prepared. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I love you so much, so many. Thank you for watching and sticking around with me. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.